Hello and welcome to another video tutorial Monday. This week I wanted to create a pretty clean and simple card with Paper Smooches stamps that I can send to my parents because I'm away at college right now, you may know this, and I miss them a lot. So I wanted to send them an I love you card with this cute little elephant image. So I decided to pull out some old favorites and a new supply and kind of incorporate them into this clean and simple card. So let's get started. First of all, I'm going to stamp everything on this card, and then I'm going to paper piece the elephant on top of it. So I can go ahead and stamp everything down now. And I'm just using my Memento black ink for this. Okay, and I have my little card stamped now, and it looks really cute. And now it's really just all about dressing it up. So actually, just to get the idea of balance down here, I'm going to round my corners right away here, because I know I wanted to do that. And then I might end up putting something across the bottom here, but we'll see. And I want to get started on my elephant. So I'm going to actually put down some tissue tape from Tim Holtz. This is from, I believe, the sketchbook pack, and I'll link to it in the in my blog post, of course. And I'm kind of going to put this down in a random fashion. I don't want it to be perfectly straight, I just want the texture of the words to be there. So I'm going to make this area about the size of the stamped image. And since I am stamping it on kind of a slick surface, I'm going to use StazOn ink. And this will just help it dry really quickly because this ink is meant for slick surfaces. It's a solvent-based ink. Now just remember that when you use StazOn ink, you can't color with Copics in it because the Copics will make the ink bleed. But that's okay for our purposes. And the image looks a little lost right now. But that's okay. Once we cut it out, it'll be much easier to see the elephants. So I'm just going to set that aside to dry for a couple seconds. It's probably almost completely dry already, but it's always good to kind of set it off and do something else just to make sure it causes you less headaches later. And I'm going to go ahead and color in these hearts with R24. And be careful because reds bleed very easily on cardstock, especially since this cardstock isn't necessarily meant for Copic coloring. Just have a really light hand. You can always go back and add more. And I'm going to use R21 to color in the I love you, just to give it a little bit of more flair. Now keep in mind that you are coloring on craft cardstock, so right now when you get craft cardstock wet, it looks much darker than it will dry. So test out colors on a piece of scratch paper before you do this, because this color will end up really, really light. But right now you might be kind of shocked when you look at it. And now we can go ahead and cut out our elephant while our Copics dry. And I'm just going to use my Cutter Bee scissors for this. And now I'm just going to do one of my very favorite tips on stamped images here, and I'm going to go over the black lines with a black pen, and I can make them a little bit bolder now too, so that they really stand out against this tissue tape. So this is your chance to really make the image pop. Alright, and now that I have this outlined in pen, I think it's time, this is going to take a few minutes to dry since I used pen on a slick surface, but I was thinking about what to put down here, and I think this So Easy hearts border would be just perfect. So what I'm going to do is pull out my ruler, and then I'm using this on an old mouse pad. You can use the So Easy mat for this. They recommend that, but I like to live on the edge. No, I'm just kidding. But this works just fine. And you just want to make sure that it's going to go where about you want to put it. So the design runs from pretty much the entire length of this wheel. So you want your wheel to be lined up and to go straight across your card. And then when you're ready, just hold down everything and then push. And then you'll see, even though we're using really thick cardstock, you have a really nice heart border. And we can go ahead and sew this. So what I'm going to do is take some thread, and I buy this is cream embroidery floss from, it's DMC embroidery floss. And I just buy it in bulk because I got sick of buying little skeins of it. And I'll have the link in my blog post, of course. And I'm just going to pull like a length, I'm using about 1 yard, and then separate the fibers and grab 4. So I'm pulling off 2 of them. And the trick for this is just to go nice and slow and kind of untwist them as you go down. And then we have our spare 2 fibers, and you can just toss these or save them for a future project if you want. And now we can go ahead and thread our needle. And then I also like to go through the holes and see where the tool punched and just make them a little bit deeper so that the needle goes through more easily. Okay, and you can see I actually added a few extra holes over here to make it appear like the next heart is starting, because I want, if this one is going off the page, I want this side to go off the page too. I don't want it to abruptly stop. So now it's really simple from here on out. You can see I messed up on the back. I'll be covering this with a piece of pattern paper when I'm done. So you always get 2 chances with 1 card. And I'm just going to sew in and out. I'll start on the back here and then just tie a little tiny knot with my first stitch. And this will just hold it in place as I sew. And I will go around all of the hearts, and I will be back in a second. Okay, so I'm back with my stitching done, and as you can see here, it's looking really good. I think it adds that perfect touch because I think it needed a little bit of texture. So I've added some foam dimensionals on the back of my little cute elephants, and I'm just going to go ahead and pop them down. And that's super cute. I love how it's really cream and black, the text is, but it reads like a gray, so that's perfect for elephants. And then as you can see here, the inside of my card looks just fantastic. Just kidding. So I'm going to cover it with this piece of pattern paper from the Autumn Press collection by Studio Calico. It's this light pink and red, so I think it works perfectly with this card. And it's this cute rose pattern, so it's just perfect. It kind of goes along with that happy love sort of theme. And I just rounded the corners with the 1/4 of an inch setting on my crocodile, and this will help it nest very nicely here. And you can see a little bit of the stitching on the sides, but you know what? That's okay. It's a handmade card, and this shows that, you know, we covered up some of the mess. It doesn't look nearly as bad as it did before. So yeah, as you can see, the pink definitely dried a lot lighter than it originally went on, which is what I wanted to happen. And I just think it ends up being really cute. You can use all sorts of different shades of Copics on craft paper. You just have to remember that they turn out looking a little bit different than they look on white paper. So yeah, so here's the finished card for this week. Here's a picture. And here's a close-up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you again next time on another Video Tutorial Monday.